And there's so many people out there who are doing their best, to be married, to be good and faithful to the one that they're with, and to do all the other things that come with marriage, because it's not just about the sex. Hey, my king.
Hey, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
All good, thanks.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I keep seeing people saying it's not possible for men to be faithful to one woman, that all men have side chicks. And more men are saying women, are playing too. So I'm always equal opportunity.
Of course.
But this question keeps on coming up. So many women are convinced that all men have a side chick, and it's not possible for a man to be faithful to one woman.
So you're asking me, is it possible?
Is it possible?
It absolutely is possible. I think, okay, so I don't want to give you a complicated answer, but I want to give you the answer the way it works, the way I understand it, okay? There's always been God's original design. He always had an original order. And, whenever I look at the scriptures and I look at my life, I'm always trying to figure out what his original plan was. So God will always point you to that. He'll say things like, in the beginning, it was not so. He will always point you to what he had in mind before all of the mess started. Are you with me? Mm. And I think, to be honest with you, when you're in a relationship with a person and you are faithful to them, you absolutely get the best of them. And you give the best of yourself. I find it very challenging when you have to share yourself among multiple women. They'll never get the best of you. You're never able to give the best of yourself because you're scattered. In my mind, the thought process was always, how do I blow one woman's mind? Yeah. And of course, it's very easy for people to generalize and talk about all men are dogs or all women are cheaters or things like that. And that's a gross generalization. There are many people who understand the sanctity of relationships and the sanctity of marriage. And they understand that in order for you to maximize the benefits that flow out of the relationship, you have to be committed to one person. So no, not all men are dogs. Is it possible to be dedicated to one woman? Absolutely. I know many people who are doing that on a daily basis. And to my mind, they're the unsung heroes because they don't get much. They don't get much credit. They don't get much press. A lot of the stuff that you find in the press is all of the negativity and the guys who are straying and have got multiple side chicks and so on. But there's many men and women who are committed and they're faithful in their relationships and they're producing wonderful results as a consequence. So I don't know if that helps.
It does, because I believe that it's possible for people to be faithful. And I also believe that bad news gets more press.
Absolutely.
And so people will report on all the cheating and all the side chicks and all the boyfriend, the extra boyfriend. That gets more press. And it's so much louder. And people who are just trying to be loyal and honorable and faithful to the one that they're with, that doesn't get the kind of press.
It's not newsworthy.
And so more and more marriage is just getting so much bad press. But I really think marriage is an awesome thing. And there's so many people out there who are doing their best, to be married, to be good and faithful to the one that they're with, and to do all the other things that come with marriage. Because it's not just about the sex. But once people start talking about cheating, it becomes just about that. We've got families, we've got jobs, we've got lives to live, a legacy to leave. So, yeah, it's just something that's been on my mind, and I want to ask you.
I get it, and I think there's a lot of people who are disillusioned. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Because they kind of feel like, what I'm seeing all around me doesn't speak to the fact that people can be faithful. But nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, you gave a great analogy regarding the news. Nobody reports great news.
Yeah.
Nobody reports good news. And say, in this community today, there were nobody died, nobody was murdered, nobody had anything stolen from them. That's not newsworthy. It has to be sensationalist. And of course, that gets the press. But as you rightly say, there's a lot of people who are just doing the hard graft and the wonderful graft of being committed in their relationship and building a legacy. You see, one of my scriptures, and this has been a really a mainstay of my life. The scripture says, he who troubles his family will inherit the wind. And I've always understood that to mean you've got to be very deliberate about building your family one brick at a time on the right foundation that is Jesus Christ. If you do that, then you will have a legacy you can be proud of. And of course, when you are faithful, faithfulness is at the core of building anything great. You see, faithfulness is a quality that God admires and he respects. and he rewards. And I guess I want my parting shot for you on this topic is basically to say it like this. I wish more people understood the rewards of being faithful. God never asks us to do something without letting us know that there's a benefit to doing it. Do you see what I mean? So you say, like, if you're willing and obedient, you'll eat the good of the land. He always ties the reward to the thing that he wants you to do. And I'm always saying to men specifically, if you understood the benefits of being faithful to your wife, you would be more committed to actually doing it. Because for starters, you have a woman who feels secure. She's able to give the best of you. She's a helpmeet. She's able to apply all of her energy to being a blessing to you instead of trying to figure out, is he with me? Is he for me? How many other women has he got? You will get the very best of your wife. And so there is, yes, Sarah, you asked at the very beginning, are there faithful men out there? I'm waving the flag unequivocally and I say, absolutely. There's a lot of men out there who are faithful to their wives. And I'm singing your praises today because you deserve to be commended for what you're doing.
Absolutely. I love the answer. And Authentic Nation, for everyone out there who's jaded by relationships and probably you dated someone who did you dirty, a woman who did you dirty, a guy who did you dirty. You mustn't allow that to frame your thinking. Just because you've had a bad experience doesn't mean you have to paint everyone with the same brush. You had a bad experience, you had a bad relationship, you had a bad encounter, but then that mustn't sully you towards relationships and towards marriage. And remember, you've also got to get your mindset right. The Bible said, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So whatever it is that you're thinking and meditating upon, that's also what you attract. If you believe all men are dogs, you're going to attract dogs each and every time. If you believe that all women are going to cheat or your woman is going to cheat, then believe me, she will cheat. So you attract what you put out there. So it's also on us as an individual to work on the things that we think on and the things that we meditate on, and you will attract that.
And Sarah, I was going to say, this is, I guess, something that's also come to mind. You've heard it said, once a cheater, always a cheater. People do change.
I think so.
People do change. People make mistakes. We're human beings. And a lot of people who've made mistakes, maybe have cheated in a previous relationship, have come to understand the error of their ways and committed to saying, actually, you know what? I don't want to live like that. I want to do better going forward. And so maybe you're on this platform and, you're dealing with guilt because you've done stuff in a previous relationship, you've messed up, and you're trying to figure out, man, can I ever salvage where I came from? You absolutely can. You can do better. People do better. People change all the time. And specifically, if you're in God, you can change because he gives you the power to do that. So, somebody was talking to me the other day and saying, I don't understand how it is that you can remain committed to one woman. I said, well, for starters, I'm not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but one thing I do have, I have the fruit of the Spirit. And one of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. So as much as, there's a temptation out there for every man to stray, when you have the fruit of the Spirit, it does something in you. The Spirit is working inside you and making you a better man in spite of yourself. And so, but I really want to encourage, guys who are on here maybe, or young ladies who are on here who've maybe strayed in the past and made mistakes. Listen, guilt is a terrible master.
That's right.
And one of the things that you should be able to do if you believe is to receive forgiveness. Just come to a place where you accept God's grace upon your life, and then you can move forward in that strength. It will be a game changer, I can assure you.
Absolutely. It will liberate you when you accept God's grace and his forgiveness and change and move on, and don't become a prisoner of your mistakes or of your circumstances. It's possible to completely get up and get moving and transform your life.
Absolutely. Then please feel free to like the video, share it with your friends, just pass it on. You don't know how many people are struggling with the things that you maybe take for granted, but put it out there and just allow people to find this page. I know it'll be a source of blessing to them as well.